So there was this woman who tried to claim that this baseball player named Trevor Bauer R-worded her and assaulted her in the worst way. Now, she tried to sue him for a whole lot of money along with another woman, and now she's facing 16 years in prison for lying about everything that she lied about when she filed it. And now the guy who she tried to basically blackmail and use for his money is exposing her. And he made this dope-ass Twitter video where he breaks down all the lies she told, shows how the court documents, shows what came out in the court, shows why she's being prosecuted, and makes her look crazy. And this is one of the rare times where I can say, like, usually we see when these cases come out, like if it's more than one person, then, it's probably true. If you got 2 or 3 people saying the same thing about you, it's not just one person. Well, this guy had 2 separate women make claims about him, and in both of these women, he made videos eviscerating their claims, making these gold diggers look crazy. So,
good for him.
No, it's amazing.
Good for him.
This is one of the best videos I've ever watched. So this is his Twitter video that he dropped explaining her lies, what she tried, and how he ended up defending himself and proving his innocence.
One of the women who accused me of sexual assault just got indicted for committing felony fraud against me. Imagine that. Now, let me catch up to speed. In the last 3 years, 2 women have taken legal action against me. Lindsey Hill started all of this. You may remember her from this video as the girl who set me up and lied to the world in an attempt to take my money. Well, today, the only other one, Darcy Adana Simone.
Now, the funny part about that video, now that's the woman who started this, right? That woman, she was on text messaging her friend like, oh, I got a baseball player, I'm gonna take him for millions. And and then she claimed that he basically choked her and R-worded her. But that video was the video she shot the next morning of the night where she said that she was assaulted.
Oh.
So that's why he put it in there. But this
so smart.
So smart. Brilliant. You deserve all the money, right? But let me let him cook, because he cooked.
Has been criminally indicted for committing felony fraud against me and another man. So now she's facing up to 16 years in prison. Her claims are even more absurd than Lindsey's were, so here's some of the details. We had one plain sexual encounter in December of 2020. Nothing that could be considered remotely rough. She initiated it, but don't take my word for it, take hers. This is a picture and text message she sent me the next morning explaining why she came on to me. And for months afterwards, she repeatedly requested to sleep with me again. For example, this text from January 7th, 2021. At one point, she even requested a sample of my sperm so she could have my child whenever she wanted to in the future. Now, it's hard to keep track, but she's made at least 4 7-figure demands over the last few years. More than a year after the one time we slept together, and only after Lindsey Hill made up her false allegations, Adana retained a lawyer. She then demanded $3.6 million and claimed I forced her to have an abortion, leaving her emotionally devastated and irretrievably damaged by it. But here's the thing, she never had an abortion because she was never even pregnant, and that's corroborated by her own medical records. When I refused to pay her the $3.6 million she was asking for, she made up a bogus sexual assault claim and filed a civil suit against me. In that version of her story, she claimed, for the first time by the way, that there was non-consensual sex, but her texts from the next morning show what actually happened. Remember this text in which she explains why she came on to me? She also claims that instead of an abortion, she actually had a miscarriage, but that's impossible, of course, because again, she was never even pregnant. We now have emails between her and the first 2 law firms that dropped her, in which they acknowledge they never had any evidence to support her claims, but they'll try to get my money anyway. I then shared an audio recording I have in which Adana contradicts her own claims and asks me for money. In the emails, her lawyers agreed that that's insurmountable evidence, and they inform Adana that they can no longer represent her unless she can provide documentation or proof of her claims. Of course, she couldn't do that, so the law firm urged her to consult other law firms with different standards. Now, Adana has filed more than 10 police reports claiming sexual assault or harassment against other men, including at least one other professional athlete. But after the Scottsdale police completed their investigation into her claim against me, she's the one being indicted for felony fraud. Not just against me, against another man as well. She made up bogus sexual assault claims and attempted to extort him too. And it gets worse. In my lawsuit against her, we subpoenaed a witness whom she knew for relevant documents to use in our case. And when she found out, she immediately made sexual assault claims against him too. Her MO is clear.
You get a charge, you get a charge,
and you get a charge, and you get a charge. The Oprah of scams.
Basically.
Wow. To get their money, extort them if she must, and when they refuse to pay, stop paying or stop giving her what she wants, go to the police, accuse them of sexual assault, and file a civil suit against them to retaliate. And just so no one can say, well, he still has 2 other accusers, just because the first 2 are complete frauds doesn't mean the others are, here's a couple facts about them. They both had lawyers first demand in excess of $3 million to not go public. In both cases, only after I refused to pay any sum of money did their lawyers make anonymous claims in the media. They both had the opportunity to file a criminal complaint against me. Neither of them did. They both had the opportunity to file a civil suit against me. Neither of them did. They both had the opportunity to participate in Lindsey Hill's civil suit against me. They could have even done so anonymously. They both refused. One of them even submitted a statement to the court stating that she never made public accusations against me. The other refused to participate so vehemently that Lindsey Hill took legal action against her, trying to force her to participate. She still refused. So they both had the opportunity to testify under penalty of perjury. Neither of them did. One can only wonder why. Perhaps it's because all their claims against me are lies. Now, it's been 2 years since these women and their lawyers attempted to weaponize anonymous claims in the media against me to take my money. I addressed them at the time, and as far as I'm concerned, it's in the past. But if there comes a time in the future where I need to defend myself further, I will not hesitate to do so. For now, there's no reason to speak further on this topic, though, because outside of Adana, who's now been indicted with felony fraud, there are no claims against me, no ongoing investigations, and no outstanding lawsuits. At this point, I'm not sure what else I can possibly do to prove my innocence in all this. I did not do what I was accused of. And every institution that our society is entrusted to rule on issues like these, like courts, judges, law enforcement officers, prosecutors, they all agree with me. They've rejected every single claim made against me, even going as far as charging one of my accusers with a felony. If any evidence of any of these claims actually existed, I would have been charged, or at the very least arrested. But that never happened. What else do I have to do to prove that this entire situation has been a massive lie? This is insane. At what point do I get to go back to work and continue earning a living?
The sad part about this situation is he lost all his he was a Major League Baseball player. He lost his contracts. He has been
endorsements and stuff
everything.
too, I'm sure.
He lost everything dealing with these 2 women who he had consensual relations with, and they just decided that they were going to take everything from him. Not once, but twice. And the second one did it, another person did it, and just decided to just ruin him. And now he's still trying to get back into Major League Baseball. But because of the allegations and the way everything happened, he's still having trouble finding a job. So it's just terrible that a man can have everything that he's worked for taken away because he is doing normal things, having regular consensual sex with women who are interested in him, not doing nothing weird, not trying to, harm them in any way. And then they just decide at some point that they're just going to take everything he worked for just because they can.
No, they didn't decide at some point. They already had that stuff planned. In my mind, that's something you like, okay, professional baseball player, the salaries that they make. He has a target on his back. And it used to be where you heard cases of women recanting stories of sexual assault and then it just goes away. This is literally the first time I've ever heard anybody being charged for making up that kind of lie. And I'm sorry, I'm 100% with it. Get her ass.
If you gonna do this to somebody, you deserve whatever you get. Now, this is the first girl who accused him, and he rips her apart in 3 minutes, destroys her whole case. It made her look crazy. But this was the beginning of the end for his career, unfortunately, from what I understand.
Star pitcher for the Dodgers. A text Lindsey Hill sent to a friend before she ever even met me. What should I steal?
What'd I just say?
She asked another, in reference to visiting my house for the first time. The answer? Take his money. So how might that work? I'm going to his house Wednesday, she said. I already have my hooks in. You know how I roll. Then, after the first time we met, net worth is 51 mil, she said. Bitch, you better secure the bag, was the response. But how is she going to do that? Need daddy to choke me out, she said. Being an absolute whore to try to get in on his 51 million, read another text. Then, after the second time we met, former Padres pitcher Jacob Nix told her, you got to get this bag. I'll give you 50,000, Lindsey replied. Her AA sponsor asked her at one point, do you feel a tiny bit guilty? Not really, she replied. Since then, her legal team has approached me multiple times about coming to a financial settlement. But, as I have done since day one, I refuse to pay her even a single cent. In August of 2021, Lindsey Hill's claims were heard in court. And during those legal proceedings, critical information was deliberately and unlawfully concealed from me and my legal team. Information like this video which was taken by Lindsey Hill herself the morning after she claimed she was brutally attacked, emotionally traumatized, and desperate to get away from me. And now we have the metadata, so there can be no dispute. It was taken mere minutes before she left my house on the morning of May 16th, 2021.
That's my biggest fear. Why do they all do the same thing? Why do y'all always wait till he sleep and then hit him with why do y'all do that? That is so evil. That's
Get that
evil.
y'all out of there. Why do they?
Okay, my bad.
We not because I'm not claiming no parts of this stuff, and I can't even tell you that I understand it because I would never like. I'm glad that we are in a time now where men are standing up for themselves. I'm so glad that he stood up for himself.
But the problem with that is I'm glad he stood up for himself. I'm glad he stood up for his morals. I'm glad he didn't give her a cent. But they still took the story, from what I understand, allegedly, he took it to the media, blew it up, because that's what these lawyers do to try to get you to settle. And now it doesn't matter if it happened. It doesn't matter if they even win the case, because they put the allegations out there. You lose everything. And if he would have paid her the money when they was trying to keep him silent, he would have probably still had his job. So that's the sad part. You damned if you do, damned if you don't.
But it shows that for him, his integrity
facts. You have to give
is
him credit.
more.
Yeah,
and for some people, for many people, their integrity is more valuable than any amount of money, and that's where he is.
I agree.
Yes, he might have lost everything, but he didn't do that.
Yeah.
He felt like he didn't do that, and like you were saying, they put all these allegations out there, and the court of public opinion is really strong. It is extremely strong, and sometimes it does win or lose cases for people, or decides whether or not this person continue with their life or not.
Exactly.
Without my knowledge or consent, of course. In it, you can see her lying in bed next to me while I'm sleeping, smirking at the camera without a care in the world, or any marks on her face.
I want to punch her in the face.
It's a pretty clear picture of what actually happened the evening of May 15th and why the video was originally concealed from us. Yeah. After hearing the evidence available to her, Judge Diana Gold-Saltman found that Lindsey Hill had misled the court. She found her claims to be materially misleading. She denied her request for a domestic violence restraining order, and she found that no sexual assault or non-consensual conduct took place. Now, some of you might not know about restraining order hearings. I know I didn't, but I've since learned that it's extremely rare for a request for a restraining order to be denied because the standard of proof that you need to obtain one is extremely low. So you can make of that what you will. The fact is, I was never arrested. I was never charged with a crime, and I won the only legal proceeding that took place without my side of the story even being heard. And most importantly, as I've said from day one, I never sexually assaulted Lindsey Hill, or anyone else for that matter. So I sued her, which prompted her to countersue me. Quite frankly, regardless of the outcome in court, I've paid significantly more in legal fees than Lindsey Hill could ever pay me in her entire life. And I knew that would be the case going in. But the lawsuit was never about the money for me. It was the only way for me to obtain critical information to clear my name.
And so this is the crazy part. So I showed you the first girl. So this video was.
I forgot it was the second girl.
Yeah, this is the second girl. So the first one, this is the first girl. She was white. The second girl who actually caught the charges for fraud is black. Now, when the video that he made against Lindsey, this video right here, that video, which is the white woman. That video came out a couple of years ago. The video that I just showed you, where he was referring to the black woman who caught the charges, that video was like a week old. It just came out.
Okay.
Now, when that video came out, Lindsey, the first girl, decided to make a video responding to it, even though he wouldn't. Well, she was mentioned, but he wasn't talking about her. But she made a video responding, and this is just this type of delusion is crazy to me. And it just goes to show you what type of person does this. And when you listen to what she has to say, I would hope that she gets the same treatment as the last liar who got caught lying.
Right.
We're back with another video update. It really won't take long. I really don't have much to say. But Rachel Luba decided to use my name, and then Bauer decides to go and make another video, citing the same things, completely ignoring the information I shared on my previous video that got 2 million views. Okay, so his accuser in Arizona, he finagled the system and managed to get her criminally charged. I don't know the details of that situation. I have had nothing to do with.
So if you don't know what happened, then how do you know he finagled the system? I'm just saying, if you're just assuming he's guilty, because that's the reason why we go to court, to find out someone guilty. Okay, let's go.
And
It makes sense.
all I gotta say, Rachel, Trevor, keep talking about me. You press charges criminally against her. Do it against me. Why haven't you done it? Why haven't you sued the MLB? Why haven't you criminally charged me? Why didn't you press it back then? Because all the evidence is there. You have never caught me in one thing that proves me to be fraudulent like Rachel Luba claims. I'm done.
There's a whole video of you there.
Girl, like what?
And look,
What?
the decision to charge is not based on what he says. It's based on what the prosecutor says.
Right.
What probably happened is the prosecutors let you make it. But those, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's all that happens.
That's it.
And a lot of times in these situations, prosecutors just don't pursue the case because it's not popular. But it was so egregious that they went ahead and did it. So for you to just happen to not get charged, you actually playing with fire because you probably should have been.
Definitely. And for me, if I were in that situation, just say the night before I've gotten sexually assaulted and this dude finally goes to sleep. I might be scared to leave at the time, but this dude finally goes to sleep. I'm not laying there.
And smiling
in no camp. I'm getting the hell up out of there.
It's exactly. And like you said, I mean, and like he showed, she had a plan to get the money before she even met him.
Didn't I say that? I was like, no.
That's terrifying.
You were like, how do y'all put it together? And I'm like, no, he has a target on his back. A person doesn't date a person and then say, you know what? I'm going to squeeze some money. You got to have that in your mind already.
I agree.
And try to figure out how to execute it to get the bag.
That's terrible, man.
That's very terrible.
So, guys, you got to be careful about where you stick your hoo-ha because this can happen to you. And as we can see, even when you win, you still will lose because the system is not made for you to prosper in. And at the end of the day, even if you beat the allegations, you'll never beat the rumors. You'll never beat the tabloids.
That's right. Don't forget about all these people we've heard about. As soon as a rumor come out, they lose contracts. They lose endorsements.
Now more than ever.
Studios cut them off before they even go to trial. An allegation comes off and they distance themselves from that person immediately, true or false. Because they like,
it ain't even worth it.
It ain't even.
It ain't even worth it.
We'll get somebody else to do it.
And you already had 2 girls false. Let's say that they're all false, but you got 2 more people come. We don't need the bad press. We don't even want to be in the conversation because you probably are innocent on the next 2, but we don't care. We don't even want, like, that ain't our business.
We ain't got time to find out.
That's what I'm saying.
Let me tell you, because that happened with Subway. Jared was accused of
I thought Jared was guilty. He wasn't guilty?
No, listen.
Oh,
listen.
okay.
Jared was guilty, but Subway they stuck with Jared through the whole thing because they just believed that he didn't do it. So Subway stuck with him. When I tell you Subway got so much bad press after it came out that he was guilty. And so now companies don't do that. They not riding for you. So what I'm saying is you're right. They will cut you off immediately because of the press. They don't need the bad press. And when Subway rolled for him like that and people found out what really happened, Subway took a major hit.
And that was a long time ago. That not
was
these days.
Many years ago.
You know, what was that, like in the 90s, 2000s?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, so if we get more updates on the case, we'll definitely let you know. But again, guys, be careful what you do and who you do it with because not everyone has good intentions. And then unfortunately, if you are successful, there are people who will come try to take what you have just because they believe they deserve it. And there's no other reason.